Coming up, why David Adelman is on his way to being the next great Nuggets coach. Why the Denver Nuggets do and don't need Chris Paul. Plus, will the real defense stand up, for crying out loud? This is Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Being an everydayer, and you know what that means, being with us Monday through Friday and making us your first listen. We do appreciate each and every single one of you joining us wherever you get your podcast, or if you're watching us at youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets. We do hope that we make your days a little bit better. On today's show, we'll talk about Chris Paul and the idea of him maybe taking that 15th roster spot for the Denver Nuggets and what that could mean. It's speculative. There hasn't been any sort of reporting, but I wanted to go ahead and get into the idea of it based off of the likelihood of Denver at least being conceptually in need of something similar to that. We're going to talk about the defense and get Ryan's thoughts on exactly kind of what is and isn't true about this defense, what is and isn't good and bad, and is it just as simple as Aaron Gordon? Maybe not. We'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about David Adelman and his season here on the show. My name is Matt Moore. I've been covering the Denver Nuggets as a credentialed reporter for 14 seasons. I write at the Denver Dig. I write at Fansided. I write at Hardwood Paroxysm, and I write at the Action Network. I'm a co-host of Locked On NBA daily, Monday through Friday in the afternoons. His name is Ryan Blackburn. He's host of the Pickaxe and Roll podcast and the senior Nuggets writer for Mile High Sports. Ryan, how are you doing on this Tuesday night?
I'm doing well. I've had a lot of interesting conversations and interesting meetings over at Mile High and a lot of stuff that we've released recently at Locked On. So it's been going great. A lot of fun things that people can continue to learn about and continue to just have a good time with. So staying busy, and went out to Nuggets practice today, and David Adelman and guys had some fun things to say, and Jamal Murray brought his daughter to work, which was cool.
Aw,
yeah. She was so sweet, man. I cannot believe how sweet she was.
Okay. So I want to hear more about practice. I am going to warn you that if I look like I'm uncomfortable tonight, it is because I lifted weights for 55 minutes, 55 minutes. And then I ran on the treadmill, and then I had to get my daughter is in basketball, and it was parents versus kids scrimmage night. And I went ahead and did the thing. And the other problem was that of the 5 parents who were available, or there were 6 parents total who were available to play. So I had to play a lot. I played 45 minutes, not straight, but like not including the breaks, which were like every 5 minutes for about a minute. I was just playing. And it's like, it's 4th grade girls basketball. It's 3rd grade girls basketball, right? So like, I'm not getting dunked on like it was with the assistant coaches. That's the upside of this. But after working out, my back is like at 43. My back is like, what do you think you're doing, sir? So
I don't blame you. Like that's just how it goes, man. But I'm starting to feel it too. Hopefully I've got some time ahead of me, but it's crawling. It's moving, man. We'll see how it goes.
The other problem was that because of there was one other guy who like was good. Like you could tell he's like a good player.
Yeah.
And so he recognized that like, at least I knew what I was doing.
So he went to you.
He's like, tell me, he's like, go. And I'm like, no, I do not want to.
Absolutely not.
We had a really good time. My daughter got to play point guard, which she never gets to, and she was very excited.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, also the best part of that game was that one girl's little sister got to play. And I mean, the 3rd grader, her little sister played. I have these 2 girls. It was like rabid Wolverines going at each other.
Oh.
Like body checks out of bounds, just like vicious. It was vicious. We were like, whoa! Like we were like, do we have to separate? It was awesome. It was
little girls are scary, man. That's
great. It was like 2 little Dylan Brookses. Okay, let's start here. David Adelman is a quarter of the way through his quote-unquote rookie season. Obviously, he started last year, but he was interim coach then. Now he's the head coach of the Nuggets, and this is the first time that he's gotten to choose his staff, his scheme, have everything his way, and not just kind of picking out the pieces mid-season. I don't really want to give him a grade because I feel like that's a little weird, but I do want to kind of.
We did give him a grade on Friday's show. I think we gave him both like a B or B plus. Based off of what expectations were. He's had some foibles. He's had some moments where he's been learning on the job, but he's also motivated the team when they've been down and helped them come back from 23 when they were down against Atlanta. So like, you got to take the good with the bad, and he's been up and down, but like I think it's been solid.
The chat is, by the way, commenting that the Avs are in overtime currently, and yes, I know that because I can hear the curse words from 3 levels above. Aaron. Just like my wife's vitriol towards the Avs' inability to win in overtime. I'm like, but the rules are stupid. And she's like, they still need to win. And I'm like, but the rules it's not the same as the playoffs. What, who cares? It doesn't matter. And she's like, stop trying to be reasonable. And I'm
this is you to a T. You're like, but like they still get a point. And you're like, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Okay. So she listens sometimes. So hey, hon, I love you.
Shout out.
Okay. I think Adelman gets an A-. I would give him a little bit of a higher grade, and the reason I would say that is because the use of the long-term planning is what I appreciate most. Is that doing stuff like, hey, let's play a lot of zone first halves so that we can get an idea of how to guard these teams effectively. The number of times that they've made second half adjustments and been able to implement those effectively. You have some ugly ones. You have some ugly spots like the collapses at home when they had a lead. Those are bad. But in general, I think that's been really good. I want to ask you this question. Ryan, do you think that the clutch stuff is on Adelman?
That's a good question. Like, no. I think that this is a team that should know who they are, that still knows who they are. And like they've had some good moments in the clutch too. Don't get me wrong. Like it's not entirely dead, but the clutch defense is a problem. And I think a lot of that comes down to schematic and execution and making sure you're understanding what the team is supposed to do and then carrying out the game plan. The question is whether the game plan at those points is good enough. And I don't think we know yet. I think that there's still so much time and it's still such a small sample that we're trying to figure it out. But it's at least a fair question to ask. I don't have a strong sentiment on it, though.
Some of the things I tend to judge coaches on, how prepared are they day by day. Malone was notorious for being hyper detail focused.
Yeah.
To the point where Paul Millsap complained about it. Other players have been like, it's a little much in terms of the attention to detail. But that was like how Malone ran things. And I think that Adelman's probably less so with the players and more, he seems very prepared on his side. Like he's got a very good comprehensive view. He never, I covered the Brian Shaw era, right? Sure. And I've been covering the league long enough to have seen these other kind of coaches. I get a pretty good sense for when I feel like a coach is just kind of like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Or this job is like kind of beyond me. And I don't ever get that sense with Adelman. It feels like he's got a good sense of where things are at all times.
Yeah. It always feels like you talked about the zone stuff early in the game. It feels like choices are being made. Choices are being made to put guys into specific situations to grow and to learn and to figure stuff out. Like they could have started Tim Hardaway Jr. I think, honestly, Michael Malone starts Tim Hardaway Jr. over the course of these past couple weeks. They have started Spencer Jones, a two-way guy, instead. And while this is a very Torrey Craig-esque move as well that they've been able to get to, like Peyton Watson moved to the 2. He played mostly all 4 last year. They've had a lot of times where they're putting guys into adverse situations where they've had to grow. They've had to figure it out, and it's been a process. And I think Adelman, more so than Malone, understood that and knew that it was okay to sacrifice some stuff in the middle in order to be better at the end. Adelman can let go of that rope a little bit. He doesn't want to, like you want to win, but you also have to understand the long game. And I do think that he understands that really well, despite the fact that it might make some mistakes and cause some things early on in the process that people get frustrated about.
There's nothing to complain about with the offense. There's nothing you can complain about with the offense. They've been great. And there's nothing to complain about with the overall record. The only thing you can really point to, though, is the defense. And my question is Adelman going to face the same frustration that Malone had, where he just can't get these guys to play defense? Because we have two very different versions of this team's defense, and we're not sure which one is the real one. We'll talk about what we think is the real Nuggets defense up next on Locked On Nuggets. You know, there's no reason to let big wireless drain your wallet, especially during the holidays. Right now, Mint Mobile is running their best deal of the year. All of their unlimited plans are 50% off. That means you can lock in 3, 6, or even 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. It's the easiest way to take your overpriced phone bill and give it the full Scrooge treatment. And what makes this even better is how simple Mint makes the switch. No contracts, no nonsense, just real savings and real quality service. It lets you keep the same coverage for a lower price. Setup only takes a few minutes. You can bring in your own phone number without any issues. The service is fast and super reliable, even on the go. It feels good knowing that you're not overpaying just to stay connected. Turn your expensive wireless present into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint Unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. That's mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months plan required, $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees, initial plan term only. Greater than 35 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for making Locked On Nuggets your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You're already live, your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Nuggets with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Just go to our page, which you can find in the episode description, because I don't have it in front of me and haven't memorized it yet. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We appreciate you guys. We're going to be putting lots of stuff up on the Everydayer page starting tomorrow. We've been prepping some stuff. I'm going to do a breakdown on Peyton Watson and what I've seen from him. So going to be a lot of cool stuff coming on the Supercast page over on Locked On Nuggets.
LockedOnNuggets.supercast.com is the URL.
LockedOnNuggets.supercast.com. I can remember that. Okay. So Ryan, I was like, all right, let's figure out let's figure out this defense. And
okay.
let's go through all, like, there's got to be like a smoking gun for what the problem is.
We're going to solve it.
Okay. And here's the problem is that since Aaron Gordon went down when they were really good defense, the other team has made a lot of shots. That's it. The other team shot really well. Turns out that's bad for your defense, and the other team shoots really well. Before Aaron got hurt, so going into the Rockets game, through the Rockets game, actually, the Denver Nuggets allowed the 4th lowest opponent effective field goal percentage at 51.6. Since that time, they allow the 2nd worst opponent effective field goal percentage at 57.9.
That's high.
All of the other numbers are pretty much the same. They don't foul. They're bottom 10 in foul rate before and after. And I know that Adelman may have the comment, and I think it was right. I think there are games where it's like you should be playing more physical and foul somebody. And it's also like, hey, you can't keep fouling people. That's just going to put them on the line and you're going to bleed points. They don't turn the opponent over ever. Ever. They do not create turnovers of any kind.
Last in the league in turnover percentage.
And they're fine on the offensive glass. They're on defensive glass. They're good in that regard as well. So like, there's not like a huge problem with that one. So it really is just teams were not making shots before. Teams are making shots now. So the question, Ryan, of course, is, were they actually probably supposed to make the shots before and weren't? And the Nuggets defense was actually worse?
I don't know who could have possibly been saying that, Matt.
So you are on that side of the aisle firmly, that like the Nuggets defense was just lucky for a few weeks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, did anything about their personnel suggest that they were going to stay a top 5 defense for the entire season? No. Like, there was nothing that they were doing. There was nothing special that they were doing. The superpower was that they were forcing the ball into the corner and to the wing against teams, or with the opponent being guys that are the third or fourth or fifth best shooters on their team, and those guys were not hitting shots early. Like, Denver doesn't give up a lot of shots to the main stars. They do a really good job, I think, of, with Jokic, especially when he is involved in a pick and roll or a DHO, he'll hard hedge, or he'll at least get up the level, and that causes the rotations behind. And so as Denver's played teams that have seen Denver's defensive coverages a little bit more, they have learned to adjust. They've learned to figure some things out, rotate the ball, and teams understand where they are going to get shots now against this Nuggets group. So I just think that this is opposing teams adjusting to the Nuggets. I think that this is more about them rather than anything that the Nuggets were doing or are not doing now at this point. You're muted.
Are there specific things that you've seen to kind of back that up in terms of like what you've noticed about from opponents that is different from the beginning of the season? Is that more of like a feel thing, or is that like a supposition? Like, if you have like that evidence, I really want to hear it. I'm not trying to challenge it.
No,
it's just for me, I don't have enough. Like, it would take me like a week to go through and try to figure out that.
I think to me, it's more about when you see something consistently over and over and over again. I think teams see when Jokic is coming out at them and they try to identify that switch. And I don't remember who was talking about it, but some player was talking about it. Like, the entire premise of that is to attack Jokic on the switch. It's to attack Jokic and put him out into space. And if you need to take a pull-up jumper in that case over Jokic, no problem. That's what we want you to do, because we know he's not going to be able to seriously contest and block your shot and do anything like that. And if he comes out too far, then you're going to beat him right to the paint. And so I just think the teams understand that more than maybe they did early, or maybe like it was just the kinds of teams that Denver's facing that they're seeing on a consistent basis. I do have some actual numbers like that I want to throw at you. Quarter by quarter defensive rating. Do you have any idea of what to expect with numbers that I'm about to throw your way? Like, give me a guess for net rating ranks for each of those quarters.
Net rating or defensive rating?
Defensive rating, excuse me.
17th, between 15th and 20th in the first quarter. Am I right? Am I high or low?
You are low. They are 9th.
Okay. I'll say 20 to 25th in the second.
26th.
Yeah. Okay. 10 to 15 in the third.
You're on. It's 11th.
And then 25 to 30 in the fourth.
24th. So not quite as bad, even though it's felt that way. Okay. So what I will say about that, and this isn't the entire conclusion there, Jokic does not play as much in the second and fourth quarter. It's really hard to blame him for quarters where he is not on the floor. However, when you look at his individual on-off ratings, his individual defensive ratings, the team's ratings don't change whether Jokic is out there or not. They have different problems, but they aren't better when Jokic is off the floor right now. I think with Valanciunas, they have really committed to playing zone, especially in that first half, as you have talked about. That is the default setting for Denver's bench defense when Jonas Valanciunas comes into the game at the beginning of the second quarter. So I think that teams are starting to figure that out because they have seen it for a quarter of the season. And I do think that we're seeing a lot of those same issues in both the second and fourth. And when you lose that thread, when you lose that rope, if I go deeper and look at Jokic's individual defensive ratings in the second and fourth quarter, I bet it's way worse than the first and third.
So there's some comments that I think I don't want to respond to them directly, but I just want to share this. Yeah. When Spencer Jones is on the floor, they have a 107 defensive rating. That is really awesome. That's really great. When Jokic is on the floor without Spencer Jones, they're 115. When Jokic is on the floor with Spencer, it's 119. this is a recurring issue since the guys went down, because somebody had commented also that like, well, the backups are playing and they're worse. Well, no, like Peyton Watson and Spencer Jones are more defensive players. Like they are more defensively minded players.
Yeah.
But the difference is that AG and Christian know exactly how to play around Nikola defensively to cover for him. And Spencer and Cam Johnson and Peyton Watson do not, because they have not spent as many minutes with Yoke. Like, it's not an effort thing. It's not a technique thing. Spencer is like extremely disruptive. Spencer disrupts a lot of passes underneath, and he is into guys. Like, I really love watching Spencer Jones's defense.
Me too.
And Peyton Watson, we know what he's capable of. The problem is really literally that they don't know how to execute with Nikola. So now some of that might be like they're doing the right thing and Joker's doing the wrong thing. I don't know, but that's a problem, right? Yeah. A lot of this is about, in my opinion, defense is all about chemistry and synergy. Like, you can be a good defense if you have 5 guys connected with the right scheme, with the right coaching, with the right mindset. This is how Billy Donovan has done it consistently, despite the personnel that he has had. Like, over and over and over again, you'll be like, wow, the Bulls were not that bad on defense, despite the trash can that they have had in terms of personnel defensively. And it's because if you coach well enough, you can get them on the same page. And I think Jared Dudley has done a really great job in terms of the scheme that they've implemented. And by the end of the season, I think we'll see benefits from it. But I also think that in the short term, this is like a thing they probably got to fix. Like you mentioned the Tim Hardaway Jr., Spencer Jones thing. A lot of that's because like Tim's played really well with the bench and the stagger minutes. But also, I think if you put him with the starters, it's going to be like, if you put him, let me put it this way. I trust Adelman to make the right decision for the team, but for what fans want, which is for nothing to ever look bad for Jokic ever and for them to win. Like, they want all of the Jokic minutes to be incredibly awesome and then just don't screw up the rest of the time.
I would also argue that in part of that decision, it's about how much more can Tim affect the offense in a positive way when the starting lineup that they've put out there over the course of these past few games with Spencer Jones, Peyton Watson, Cam Johnson has a 138 offensive rating.
That's not great.
No, offensive rating.
Yeah, that is great. That's
like, that's with Spencer Jones in there instead of Tim Hardaway Jr. Yeah. Like, to me, they are doing the right things, and it's just about like the fit. It's about trying to figure it out. And so, like, I think what Tim's done off of the bench has been fantastic. He's saved them on so many games, man.
So, let me ask you this. Starting in January, let's assume that the guys get back in January and they have normal health for the rest of the year, which is a big ask, but they have normal health for the rest of the year, knock on wood.
Okay.
We did this last year with post All-Star where you were optimistic. It was nice for a moment for you to be optimistic. What is going to be their defensive rating from January 1st to the end of the season if they have normal health?
Can I give you a rank rather than a number? Okay. 14th. I don't think I have moved past the idea that they're going to try super hard and get a top 10 defensive rating when their offense is this good. Yep. Like, they are just going to coast.
Yep. 14th through 18th is my range. And that's some of that. It's like, well, that's not very precise, Matt. Well, yeah, but some of this is like, you can be 0.04 off and slip 4 spots in the middle. It all kind of gums together.
Their March schedule is also very kind. So
yes.
We'll see.
Okay. I want to talk about Chris Paul because Chris Paul is obviously, his time with the Clippers is done. The Nuggets fans have wanted a point guard. Chris Paul's a point guard. Let's at least have the conversation. We'll talk about it coming up on Locked On Nuggets. The World Cup's coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. What a great year. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. I got a friend that lives in Fort Worth and there's games being played down there and he really wanted to go, but it was like, not even like worth looking. That's how crazy it was. I told him about Game Time and I told him about the code and I said, go just go check it out. And he actually managed, he was like, he got he hit one of the windows and actually managed to land some tickets for what was affordable for him. He's going to a World Cup game. You pull up the app. The layout makes it so simple to scroll through the matchups and compare seat views. Prices include fees up front and no last-second surprises at checkout. Alerts for teams and matches makes it easy to grab tickets the moment they drop instead of missing out. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. We're also brought to you today by Doer. Oh man, my Doer jeans. They are absolutely awesome. Holidays are here, and this year I'm not stressing about what to wear because I'm going to be wearing my Doers. They look great with a sweater. They look great. I love doing the like red button-up shirt with the green sweater. That's like a classic holiday look that I can pull off with my Doer jeans. They are the most comfortable pants I own, and they make me look really good. My wife the other day was just like, "Are those the Doers?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "They really do look really good." Doers denim and lifestyle appeal is engineered for movement and versatility. Whether you're on the go, traveling, or lounging at home, or going to a nice dinner party, if you don't have your own Doers, now is the time. I've been recommending Doer to all my friends, telling them about it, letting them know where to go in Denver to get their own pair. You can tell a difference with Doer's high-quality, temperature-regulating Cool Max fabrics. They keep you warm, but you don't overheat, which is really tough because, like, all right, it's winter, it's freezing outside in Colorado, then you're inside, and the heater's on, and you're in the car, and the heater's on. Like, it's constantly changing, and the Doers always stay cool. It's time for you to experience the comfort of Doer, and I know you're going to love these. Pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. You can check out the Doer store here in Denver at 2621 Larimer Street. Mention our promo code LOCKEDONDenver in store to get 15% off your first order. Or check them out online at shopdoer, DUER.com/LockedOnDenver for 15% off. That's shopdoer.com/LockedOnDenver. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Final segment here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making this part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us here on a Wednesday with no jinx. We'd never jinx anyone. All right. So, Chris Paul was sent home by the Los Angeles Clippers. And fans have wanted another ball handler. Chris Paul, I am not advocating for a trade unless they'll take Zeke Naji, because if you can move off the Naji piece, by all means, go for it. But I do not consider that to be viable. But if they do buy him out and he is a free agent and the Nuggets can acquire Chris Paul, and Chris Paul says, hey, it's a 2-hour flight to LA. I could be home a lot of the time. I could see the family pretty consistently, and I could compete for a championship. I know the problems that comes with Chris Paul. It's tough for me because it's like, Chris isn't like disruptive. Like, he's not like some wide receiver putting weird cryptic. He's not. Let me put it this way: he is not on Instagram posting about chemtrails and the Illuminati like certain other veteran point guards.
No, he's gonna tell you to your face what's wrong with your team,
right?
And they don't like accountability over there.
Now, I'm okay with the idea of, hey, the defense isn't good enough. We need somebody better on defense because Chris is 40 or is going to be 40. Like, I get it. I totally get that. The question is kind of, but what if there's not a better option available? Like, what if there's not if you can't get one of these guards that we've talked about from a defensive standpoint, if you can't find one of those guys, is it better to have, and like, I guess one of the questions here, Ryan, is very, very simply, like, is it better to have Chris Paul or to convert Spencer Jones to the full-time contract?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think if you ask this chat, they'll say convert Spencer Jones 100%, like pretty close to 100% based off of what he's done. And yet, like, we know how this goes over the course of an NBA season, and we know that throughout that time and into the playoffs, you're going to play your veterans. You're going to play you're going to play the guys that you trust as much as possible, the guys that but Spencer Jones has earned the trust. He earned the trust since training camp. He's been one of their best wings in general. So I don't know how to feel about it. I think that when I think about Chris Paul, I think about a guy who, if you didn't have to have him play, like would potentially be a good veteran option for Denver as somebody that can give them perspective. And I just don't know how he would respond to that situation, though, and how the Nuggets would respond to having his voice just parachuted in without him having to play. How do you think that would go in this locker room if he was, let's say it's clear that he's cooked. Let's say they give him the Reggie Jackson treatment and they try to play him and it doesn't work. Like, how does he respond to that? How does the team respond to that?
See, and I don't think he's cooked because he was pretty good in San Antonio last year.
I mean, you just talked about what happens at 40. Like,
okay, but like it's 6 months ago. So here's a question. Here's a question.
Yeah.
Is it not possible that the problem was actually not Chris Paul? It might be, I don't know, the Los Angeles Clippers?
Theoretically possible.
Like, everyone's very confident that he's cooked. Why? He was good last year for San Antonio.
Yeah, and he played 82 games. And now, to be fair, like the kind of role that he played, it was really easy to play off of a guy like Victor Wembanyama. They didn't have to have him handle the ball all the time. He was able to pick and choose his spots a ton, but he also like helped the team and was a reasonable part. He was like, wasn't his net rating for them like the best on the team or pretty close to it? Like, he was just very valuable for what they were doing. So I think there's an argument for it, to be clear. I also think
I don't mind you. I don't mind people being like, I want somebody who is young enough to be able to, like, I want somebody who can just run and play defense and shoot. Fine, cool. I totally understandable. If you're like, I don't think Joker responds. Now, I think actually Joker might really like him because Joker, I think, is actually a lot more receptive to b-holes.
Sickos.
I'm trying to put this as like PG as possible. B-holes.
Yeah.
Than I think people realize, because like he's a very serious man now. Like he's not a businessman. He's a businessman. And like, he's aware of that now. And he is very serious about how he approaches this. Somebody's like, there's a lot of comments about Russ, and it's like, yeah, look, one, I don't think Russ is willing to come back. I think Russ would just be like, no, like you said, you didn't need me, and that's fine, but that's it. Like, you had I was there, you could have paid me, and you chose not to.
Also, one of the reasons the Nuggets have the best offense in NBA history right now is because they're extremely efficient at all of these spots on the floor, and they're not turning over the ball. Like, say what you will about their veteran bench offense and whether they might need another initiator. They don't right now. Like, they've been just fine. Like,
yeah, and I don't think the Kings are actually looking to move Russ. I think they've liked having the Russ experience. I think they need the Russ experience. Like,
yeah.
I'm not anti-Russ. I've never been anti-Russ. Never in his entire career have I been anti-Russ. My thing with Chris Paul is that he is very steady and he is very smart and he does know a lot and he does bring a lot to the table and he is very consistent. And if you want somebody who can break the press, Chris Paul can break the press. Like, he may not be able to break it as like the primary initiator, but if they're going to double Murray, you put him on the floor with CP3 and they'll break it. And
they'll see the floor better than anybody.
And also those nights when you want to give Jamal the night off, totally fine. Let me put it this way. You'd rather have Chris Paul than Jalen Pickett. You'd rather have Chris Paul than Julian Strawther.
And that's the factor here, that everything is geared towards how do you match up in a playoff series against teams like OKC, against teams like Houston, against some of these other teams. Like, I don't know how Jalen Pickett and Julian Strawther are going to respond to those moments again. Like, we just don't know. Julian had one great game in that OKC series. He might have another. He also might not. Jalen Pickett proved to not really be super playable in the playoffs last year. He might be better this upcoming year, but the evidence that we have seen so far this regular season is that it might not happen. So I don't know. They may need another.
I think it's going to come down as like, it's not a bad idea, but it's not the right idea.
Yeah,
that's probably.
But they may not have the resources to get a better idea.
Yeah, but also, like, if you're going to want Chris, you're probably going to need to move faster, and I think the Nuggets can be patient with their record. So
true.
Okay, we had the Chris Paul conversation, which I wanted to have. All right, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you have yourselves a great Wednesday. We'll be back with you on Thursday with me and Swipa. Then we'll have a game on Thursday night, an actual basketball game that we will talk about as I once again have to watch the Sacramento Kings play basketball against the Nuggets.
Oh, you think you're upset about it? My God, I have to watch them again. It's insanity.
Hoping for another great Russ game just for that. And then Friday with Boom and Gloom, they'll break down everything from the game. And then we're off into the weekend and more games, and everything rolls on as we head into a huge game on Monday.
Yeah.
Versus the Houston Rockets. We'll keep you updated. Make sure to sign up for the Everydayers Club. We'll see you guys again next time on Locked on Nuggets.